Now we are going to look at what are data frames. Uh, so the data frames, if I were to give you a high level view, is somewhere between an Excel spreadsheet and a SQL table. It's not as strict as the SQL language is in terms of what we want to do, but it's not as relaxed as Excel where you can just go ahead and type anything and make a mess. So it's somewhere in between. The whole idea about pandas is to do whatever we did in SQL and Excel at the same place and automate it. So that's where it started. The library was developed by people working into quantitative finance. So that's how it started. The first question arises. We started with a list, then a dictionary, and then a data frame. So let's quickly look at all three of them. So if I say that X list is equal to a list, so I'll write something like this. Now X list is a list. If I print it out, I get the list. I can loop around and display something. So I'm going to say for X in list, print X. And I can do whatever I want. Oh. And I can do whatever I want. I could likewise create a dictionary. A dictionary is something which has a key and a value. So this is a dictionary with a key and a value, and I can see what is inside the dictionary. So these are the two things. A dictionary has a key and a value and a list. Now what we are going to the next level is we are trying to mimic and get something like Excel. So that's where we are slowly moving. So what do we have in Excel and SQL? We have a table name, the column, a primary key, and things from which we can group by. So let's see how that would work. Before that, let me show you one last command of how to create a big list by using the range command, because we see this range command a lot in a lot of for loops. Okay, now to run this one, I just need pandas, which I already imported. And if you observe carefully, I'm giving inside this a list or a dictionary. So if I want to find out what is the type here, so the type is dict. I can convert a dict into a data frame and see what is inside the data frame. So this is my data frame. Now one thing that happened automatically by Python here was the unique primary key, which is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We never gave the index. Index is something unique or a primary key that remains a unique identification to get to a row. We never did that, so Python decided that okay, I'm going to do it on my own. That's what Python does all the time, which is why it is easy and sometimes it's hard. Now we have three columns which we gave here: column 1, column 2, column 3. The heading of the column is the key, and the values are in the list, which is a dictionary. So here we converted a dictionary into a data frame. This is the simplest way to move ahead. Start with the keys. Inside the key, put different values, and those would become your column. The name of this data frame is frame, and whenever we want to call this, we can call this data frame. Now Python also did something interesting for us. It automatically detected the values in the column. So it's saying that the state is an object. Object is a broad thing that it could be a list inside a list or a dictionary inside a dictionary. I don't know what it is. So I'm keeping a broad kind of a definition open for that. Year is integer because it never found a decimal, and population is a float because it was able to find a decimal. If I go and do type of frame, it's going to say that this is a pandas data frame. Now we can access what is inside this data frame by running some Python. So this is equivalent to select star from data, or this is equivalent to select state from data if you're doing it in SQL. So when I say data and state, it gives me everything. But this is through the dictionary. If I want to do the same in my frame world, so it would be frame and state. If I want to display the output, not, and we'll find out the difference, but if I don't want, this is called a series and this is a data frame. So this is series and this is a data frame. So if I want to display the output, this is equal to writing select star from, no, select state from frame in SQL with a semicolon. So that's the equivalent of that in Python. That's why I told you that it's a mix of SQL and Python. I can do the type of data right now, and it's going to show me a dict. And if I were to change the name of the column, I can do that anytime. So let's see the name of the column right now. So to find out the name of the columns, I have to write frame dot columns, and these are the name of the columns. And this is a data frame. Now if I were to replace this and play around with it and do XXX, then it says that I did not find XXX, so I did not bring any value for that. So this is if you have a dictionary and you want to bring only few columns. So only a few columns from dict, then you're going to do that. The broad idea that I want you to understand, don't worry about the syntax or memorizing this code. The broad idea is that we started from a list, which is a naked list, no identifier. Then we started with a dictionary, which is a key value pair. And if we extend the idea of dictionary and list and mix them together, so this is a dictionary which has a list. This is a dictionary, this is the key, this is the value, which is a list. This is the value, which is a list. So this resembles more like a SQL table where you have a column header and values inside that. If you can understand that part, that's good enough for now. Now we can also create a dictionary and force the index. So we have data. I want these columns, and if you see carefully, there is no column as dat. So there's going to be nothing that's going to come in dat. And I have a new index. This time I'm forcing the index 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and not like the last time where I let Python decide that. So that's the creation of a data frame. Since we are not able to have any key name as dat, it gave it nan, and we forced it to use the index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and not let Python decide and put these numbers automatically. These numbers are auto increment. In SQL, if you were to write this, then we would have to write that these things are auto increment. We can always do frame.columns in the same way as we did to get the column name. And if you were to select something, we can write the column name, which is select star from frame 2 where, oh no, select state from frame 2. So that's how it would do. If you were to find out index, then I would do frame2.index and it's going to give me the index. I'm going to do the iloc in the next part. Now, I can do everything and give values for the entire column as 16.5 so that everything in that column becomes 16.5 by writing the column name and is equal to a value. This is like writing select dat from frame 2 or insert values into column frame 2 and everything is equal to 16.5. So that's like a value that you want to keep. If you want to ever get that column, either you can write the square one or you can write that one. But if you see the formatting, this is not a data frame. So I keep saying that keep a watch at the output. If you want to convert that into a data frame, then you have to write pd.dataFrame and push it on. That's one way. The other way which they gave us is to use a square bracket and to use a square bracket and put that into quotes. So that's another way in which they do that. I'm going to continue in the next part. So we saw how to create a data frame from dictionary, and we saw what is a dictionary, what is a list. Now to merge these two concepts, marry these two concepts of dictionary and list when we need a data frame. Now to populate values inside, how to select columns from a dictionary while we want to make a data frame out of